Hi, everyone. This training is going to be for utilizing VAX vacation access. All of you have probably logged in here because it is where we book Universal Vacations is on VAX, but it is a mall, if you will, of travel suppliers. So the main thing that you will, when you're first starting out, use VAX for is Universal. However, I know that when you start sharing your business, people are going to immediately, you want to make sure they know that you can book more than Universal, more than Disney. And it's fine if you don't want to. It is fine if that is your niche and you want to stick just in that niche. But if you were to get a request for, Cancun or Punta Cana, etc., Jamaica, this is a great spot to be able to book. I'm going to do a second training on the other company that the tour operator that we use, which is Vacation Express, which is a different login. And most of you probably don't have a login for that, but I can help set you up with it. So VAX. First things first, when you go to vaxvacationaccess.com, you're going to be here. As you can see, I have my password and username saved. And then we put in the agency number. Oops, sorry. So we're going to put in the agency number to log in, and we'll log in. Now, the important thing to note here is there are several suppliers. Like I said, it's kind of like a supplier mall, but we don't really use all of them. You don't want to bounce around to too many. We build relationships with tour operators, just like we build relationships with Disney and Universal. And once we start building those relationships and getting more business with them, they can up our commission percentage from them. They can increase, other things, whether it be that we get invited to something or whatever it may be. So there are, if you go here to suppliers, you'll see there are several listed. There's our Universal one. If you were to book anything with SeaWorld, there's SeaWorld. What we're going to focus on is Funjet. That is the tour operator that we use here. And Funjet is part of the ALG group, which is Apple Leisure Group. So you can see the phone number here, ALG Desk, that's Apple Leisure Group is what the ALG is. And you can, so technically, you could go to that supplier list, which now I'm not there, and you saw that Apple was listed. Apple doesn't pay as high a commission to us for whatever reason as Funjet, but definitely it's worth, looking at the two to see what option could potentially give you the best commission and the best price for your client. So you could bounce between those two. I'll just go back here real quick to the suppliers. So ALG Vacations, Apple Vacations, they're all part of the Apple Leisure Group. I just tend to go straight to Funjet. That's the one I use. Pricing works out pretty well, and all of that. So we'll go to Funjet. Once you get here, it's going to look just like it does when you go onto the Universal page. You kind of get like all their advertisements, stuff like that. There's a few things I want to point out on here to get started. First of all, you can go to Agent Tools. They do have education. So there is different training you can do. So if you click that, it's the ALG Vacations training. So you can click here and, get to know the Pro Campus, content, begin certification, enroll in electives. This is Amstar, which is, Hyatt. Those are all Hyatt now owns Amstar, so it gets confusing, but definitely worth doing the trainings in here. You can find a lot of good learning tools right in here, live webinars, recorded webinars, what you've done, your achievements, so it's a good spot to start if you want to start training in this area, which I would strongly recommend, getting your start here. So that's where you will do the training for ALG. Let me go back here. I did just get an email on this ALG 360. I'm not completely sure what that is because I haven't dove into it myself. But that's something, you can sign up for and look into as well. So like I said, I just got an email for it and I haven't really paid attention to it yet. Haven't had time. So the next thing is, this is where you're going to go to do the quoting. So there's going to be all sorts of ads. There's always a ton of ads on this main page, but then you're going to go over here and you'll see like mine is set to Philly. You can easily change that. Exclusive nonstop vacation flights are 9 times out of 10, at least for the Philly area, they're on Frontier. So that's just something to keep in mind, but they do have access to flights with Frontier before they're released to the public. And if your clients are okay with flying a budget airline, you can get some pretty good deals on there. So the big thing to pay attention to here is what kind of package you're going to quote for the client. The main things I quote on here are either flight plus hotel, hotel only, and sometimes I do the hotel only package plus. Occasionally that was coming in lower, but not often enough that it mattered. So you can see there's a ton of other options here. I would not dive into Europe and stuff like that unless you are well versed in it, because that could be a confusing thing. There's activities only, but like I said, the main one you focus on that I've focused on with clients is flight plus hotel or hotel only, or this hotel only package plus. So for this example, we're going to do the flight and hotel. I'm going to put in Cancun. So you do have to kind of know your codes for the places that people want to go. You can sometimes just start typing it in, but you have to know exactly how it's in the system. Like if I were to type in Saint, I get St. John, but not St. Lucia. But if I put in St. Lucia, then St. Lucia comes up. So you just have to know how they're going to have it in there. Cancun's the easiest. If you type in Cancun, you'll get the different one: Island Mujeres, Riviera, Cancun and the Riviera, just Cancun hotels. I usually just do CUN Cancun. It gives you almost all of this stuff, and you can always bounce around and come back out and pick different locations just to see if you get different hotel options. But for this example, we'll just do Cancun. Sorry, hold on. Decline, I'll call her back. So for this example, we'll just do Cancun, and I'm going to go ahead and we'll do some dates. We'll just say they want to go away for a long weekend, couple getting away 4 nights to Cancun. So I'm going to go ahead and hit search after I put that in. You can do an advanced search, and I'll show you that in a second. So it's going to be loading here. And just have to tell the person I declined while this is loading. Okay, so still loading. Sometimes it can go a little slow, so I'm sorry that you're sitting here watching this instead of, seems like it might be popping up here, hopefully in a second. Okay, so right away you see we have options pop up. It even automatically applies if there's a promo. So there is a promo right now saying save now 23. The first thing I do right off the bat, I know from our area we can fly direct to Cancun, and I know my clients are not going to want these flights. So the first thing I do is click the outbound flights. Now, if you get flights that look great, I start scrolling through the hotels. But when you see the flights come up bad right off the bat and you're like, nope, they're not going to do that, I click that. So then I'll go over here and I'll filter the flights nonstop. And then you can see we have a Spirit option, we have a Frontier option, and it'll show you how much more you're going to pay. And that price that you're seeing, this 4,700. That is based on them automatically picking a resort. So you can kind of see over here, this is the itinerary that they've, saved for me for my recent search. And it has that is Secrets Moxie. I can't say things in Spanish that well. So you can see that's what that price is based on. So this isn't like the airfare price. That's a total package price. So I'm going to say that my clients are, not big fans of the discount airlines, and they want to fly American. So we're going to go right here. Now, you'll notice here, there's bulk fare, published fare. That's basic economy. Skip that at all costs, unless your client is like, yeah, I fly basic economy all the time. I'm fine with it. Don't even. So I go right to bulk fare, and you'll see sometimes the published fare is cheaper. Bulk fare, the big thing that's going to do for the client is allow them to pay a smaller deposit up front. That's the big thing, and it can be cheaper. So you can see the bulk fare, same flight, same category, class of fare with the V. So we're going to go ahead and select bulk fare. And then sometimes the return flight will automatically just update to be what matches what they consider a best match for this client for this flight. So we're going to go, no, see, they still gave me a layover. So I'm going to go in here and change out the layover again and say we want a nonstop flight so that we can get that taken care of. So there's the nonstop. So you can see we've really added on almost $1,200 for the flight. So clients have to understand, we can't control the airfare. So now we're going to go ahead and click the hotels. And as you can see, it automatically just picks one. That's not because it's the cheapest. It's just because that's, they have it sorted by preferred. You can sort it by price, you can sort it by rating, what's closer to the airport, alphabetical, whatever you want to do. So if I start scrolling down through here, I'm going to see all the different resorts. Now, these clients will say they want only adults only, so we can click that. It'll filter out and give me only adult only resorts. And if they only want an all-inclusive, we can filter it out and make sure that all we're getting is all-inclusive resorts. You see, there's lots of options on ways to filter, and there's more options over here. You don't want to over filter it out just in case, but if you know that they want a certain area, like, and they want to be close to certain things, then you could filter that out here. But for now, we're just going to scroll through, and, if the client's giving you a budget, that can help. If they haven't given you a budget, then, you have to kind of give them some options that way. So from there, you'll pick a resort that you think fits your client well after speaking to them. And if you have questions on resort selection, I know it can be overwhelming. There's a lot of resorts. Just feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help talk through things with you. Ask in our group. Some people have booked a lot of things here, others haven't, but it's always a good starting spot to reach out. And, knowing Mexico, so learning as much as you can about Cancun and the coastline and the sargassum that they get there. So north of the hotel zone is usually better, like Playa Mujeres, Isla Mujeres, Costa Mujeres, all of that is better than Riviera Maya, Playa del Carmen. They have a little bit more of the seaweed issue, but it's kind of a coastal issue all the way up. So you'll scroll through, find a resort that might be a good fit for them, and then you would, so I obviously picked dates nearby, so we're having some non-availability issues, but let's say, Live Aqua fit the bill for them. So you could hit select. And then from there, you would get the final pricing. Another thing that you can do on here that's nice when you're quoting is you can create a sales email. And the sales email pricing will include the airfare in there, but not the transportation. So let's say you're like, oh, I think there's a few that they might like. You click this plus button if you want to get different resort levels. If you want to learn more about the room category that you're quoting, you can click that and it'll open that up. But so I could add this to the sales email, then close this one up. Maybe I'll add Secrets Memora, but I like the preferred club, so I'll open that up and see if that's available and click that. And they'll want a king, so we'll do that. And then scroll down through and see what else we have. So you see, like, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. We'll give them a price for this one, and then I'll do one more. Blah, blah, live aqua. We'll do live aqua. And we'll give them, do they have any kings? There's a king, so we'll do an oceanfront king. You have to watch like these things, the ultra deal, make sure you hover over it. You'll see you're going to take a little hit in the commission to get this client this deal. But you know, if you're getting the sale, it's a sale, right? So we'll scroll back up here and then hit preview sales email. And once you preview it, you'll be able to, there's never a marketing banner. You'll put your client's email address in. When they respond, it's going to come to you, but it's going to come to them like this. So you just want to let them know that you're sending it directly from the vendor. As you can see, they have the airfare listed and then the price totals. So you just also want to make sure that they know that this does not include transportation, because the transportation in Cancun will vary based on the hotel they pick, because it's going to be based on how far it is from the airport. So as you can see, like this one's only 8 miles away. So that transportation might be a little bit less than say this one that's 21 miles away. And what's great with this is they can click these links and it will open up the resort for them to kind of look through. So that's a great way to send them a quote. And then you can also, but let's say you know exactly what they want and they wanted, I'm just going to pick the one that's closest to the top. We'll say they want this. So you hit select. So just to show you what that looks like, you'll get here. You can, like I said, you can also click on here and look at the resort, see if there's anything important that you feel the need to tell your client about. But this is what they'll see if they click those links, and they'll be able to go through pictures of the hotel. Sometimes there's TripAdvisor reviews that they can go right there instead of having to do it somewhere else. This is, you know, the amenities, the rooms, so they can see a little bit about the room, what the bedding is, etc. So lots of good information for the client and for you on this tab here. Then you'll see that they've added in the transportation. You can again edit that. So if you go to the features tab, that'll open and you'll see all the different features that you can add on in advance. So ground transportation would be the one. And you can see that there's the one that they have currently. So we can remove or update it. If they want it private, there's the cost for private deluxe. There's the cost for private deluxe. So just a couple other options if they wanted to do an upgrade to a private transportation. Some other things that you can add on is sometimes they do, and this one does, have sightseeing and tours. So and this doesn't have to be done in advance. This can be done later. You can come in and add this on. But if they wanted to go, you know, to Isla Mujeres, if they wanted to go on an ATV, if they wanted to do a sunset sailing, any of these things. So you can kind of go through and see all the different tours, and you can even click on them. And again, these things can be added to your sales email. The problem is you can only add so much. So you might have to send them a second one with like excursion options once they pick the hotel, but they can click on these and they'll see this information. You can also, what I've done here is like screenshot it and send it to them with pricing. So it really just depends on, you know, how much extra. Some people like to wait till they get there. I would say 75% of my clients wait till they get there, but some want to book it in advance. So this is all stuff that they can book once they are there. If they add it while you're the person booking, you'll earn a commission. So if you can get them to do stuff in advance, if there's an excursion you've done that you know you loved, you can definitely add it on here. So that's the excursions. You can also click the water activities filter and see some things that are just water activities. So dolphin swims, etc. Again, those would just be excursions. The other thing to point out is travel protection. And you want to be really sure to pay attention to the different levels of travel protection. The travel credit is very restrictive, and that it is just a travel credit for those 2 people that are on that original reservation, which is why it is so much less. The other would be the full cash refund, which is going to cost more, but it is a cancel for any reason. So again, you can add these to the sales email and make sure that they, you know, click and read about it. And again, these sometimes are easier once they've gotten and picked their resort, because you can only add so much to the sales email. We do have a third party insurance company that we work with, that if this pricing is prohibitive for your clients, we can get them travel protection that maybe costs a little bit less, but doesn't have, you know, the cancel for any reason option. So if everything looks good to your client and this is the trip that they've been wanting, you would then click checkout. On the checkout screen, you can hold these because it's bulk air. If it was published air, there's no holding it. It has to be booked within, like, I think the same day you have to have the deposit down. But because this is, we're going to hit decline for right now. Because this is bulk air, you don't have to have, like, the deposit isn't due until March 9th. So they would have 3 days. So it's $500 deposit. And then again, I did a trip like close, so that's why the final payments due so soon. So a few other important things when you are doing an all-inclusive booking, especially one with airfare, you need to have their full legal name as it appears on their government ID, meaning their passport. So you're going to need all that information. If they want to be able to get their own updates from the airline, you put in their information here. If they've given you their passport information, you can put all that information in here. That can be added later. Same with if they have a known traveler number, meaning their TSA PreCheck or World Pass or whatever it's called. And then same for the second adult. So all of that, you can hit here to enter in their frequent flyer stuff. A lot of clients like that because they'll have that information. If you're not doing a deposit today because you just want to hold it for them, you would go ahead and just scroll right past this and it will let you click the check mark and click complete. I will a lot of times not do the payment, even if I have all the information and the client's like, we're ready, we want to book. I will put in everything, names, you know, all the information that they've given me, names, birthdays, all that stuff. And then I will send them the confirmation and say, look this over and tell me everything looks correct. If they look it over and tell me everything looks correct and then there's a mistake, then that would be on them to cover the cost of the name change that might have to be done or whatever might have to be done. You do have 24 hours to correct issues, but I would not take those 24 hours. I would make them confirm that everything is correct, have them agree that everything is correct and that they've looked it over, have that all in writing, and then go ahead and process the payment, the deposit. because that way you're just covering your own butt. And if they did not, like, they skimmed it over and they missed something and then you call to get it corrected and there's a cost associated with it, that's on them because they looked it over and confirmed everything was correct. And you'll easily be able to, once it's booked, email things to people. You would just click this email print itinerary button and that emails it to them in the full way that it looks. So right now it doesn't have names or anything because nothing's booked, but if it did, it would show. And that is the basics of how you use Funjet on Vax. So like I said, first stop would be the agent tools and go to education and start doing some training for yourself. And then playing around on the site and just going through and doing searches, doing a mock trip like what I just did. That wasn't for anybody. You'll see that they'll save your recent searches. So if you're just doing it for one client and they have a couple different date ranges, they would work for them, or you want to check a couple different areas. Maybe they want to look at Jamaica, or maybe they want to look at Punta Cana as well as Cancun. They don't really have an island in mind. You can, it'll all save here, and then you can easily go and click that. You can save the itinerary. If I were to click save, I can name it and say who it's for, and then it would be under retrieve save itinerary. So if somebody came back and they were like, oh, I'm interested, you could then pull it there. If I'm trying to think what else, the price match is very easy to do. This is a chat, I don't want to be in a chat. The price match is very easy to do. I can definitely walk you through that. So if you have a client, you've quoted them everything and they're like, oh, I went on Expedia and I found this, you can definitely say, please send me over the information and make sure that everything matches, same flights. Not that they're like, oh, look, I found this great deal. Well, yeah, you're flying Spirit and I quoted you American. Like, hold on, let me redo the quote. Sometimes Expedia and those types of places are cheaper. So it is something, to take into consideration, and you will lose a percentage of the commission. When you price match, it will drop depending on, a bunch of different factors. If it was like Funjet to Vacation Express or Vacation Express to Funjet, usually those don't drop in percentage because it's a tour operator versus a tour operator and they want your business. But if it's like Expedia or Cheap Caribbean or any of those, online travel agencies, OTAs, you will lose a percentage of your commission. So in those cases, the best thing to do is to reach out to me and I can walk you through exactly what to do and how that is taken care of. One other link to look at here is booking administration, because as you may have noticed, nowhere does it show your commission. That's here. So here's your commission. I know it doesn't look great because of the 4509, but we don't really get paid a commission on airfare. So a big chunk of this cost is their airfare. So that is why, you're seeing that. That's about, I forget what our percentage is with Funjet, but that's the percentage of what the hotel and like transfers and such is. So we don't really get anything, maybe a couple percent on airfare, but not a whole lot. We don't really touch this either. So just don't worry about that. That is very rarely used. I think I've used it once ever. So that is how you use Funjet. It is a great tool. You can go through here and, click lots of different information. But like I said, the number one thing I would start with is education, and then playing around on the site and just booking some fake trips and seeing how you do. So good luck. Reach out if you have any questions, and have a great day.